Hi, I'm Avishag Boker, a UX researcher and designer and a PhD student at the University of Haifa. Although I couldn't join you in person, I'm really glad to be able to present my work here, and I hope to meet you at future conferences. Today I'll present our work titled Don't Let the Pigeon Drive the Bus: The Impact of a Bird's Eye View on Situational Awareness in Remote Driving. When people control vehicles remotely, they usually sit in a control room, sometimes kilometers away from the vehicle. Yet, many teleoperation stations are still designed like a car cockpit, with a steering wheel, pedals, and a forward-facing display. The traditional cockpit is shaped by physical constraints, limited space, vehicle mechanics, a fixed viewpoint, and vision restricted to the windshield and mirrors. Everything must fit and function while the vehicle is moving. But a remote operator is not bound by these constraints. They sit in a spacious room. They can be supported by teams, supervisors, or technical systems. The interface can include additional information layers and multiple perspectives. So our proposal is simple. Let's redesign driving. In future transportation, most vehicles will be autonomous. When human intervention is needed, it will likely happen remotely. This means that the person controlling the vehicle may no longer be sitting in it at all. So instead of carrying over our traditional mental model of driving, we have an opportunity to start from a clean slate and rethink what driving should really look like in this new context, considering both the limitations and the opportunities of remote operation. One potential approach is to rethink the visual perspective available to the operator. Instead of relying only on forward-facing cameras that mimic the windshield, we explored whether adding a bird's eye view could improve operator situational awareness. Modern vehicles already combine sensors like surround cameras and LiDAR to generate a bird's eye view, even from high above, making it practical, real, and increasingly advanced. I'd like to show you a short video. What you see here is the frontal camera, the main view the operator receives when taking control of the vehicle. Now that you've seen the video, try to estimate. Did the vehicle stop before the stop line, after the stop line, or exactly on it? Now let's look at the exact same moment, but from another perspective, a bird's eye view. Focus on the white car in the middle lane. From this view, we can clearly see that the vehicle stopped before the line. This angle provides information that wasn't obvious in the frontal camera. Let's try the opposite situation. This time, we start with a bird's eye view. The question is, was there a bridge ahead? Now let's look at the frontal camera. Here, we can clearly see the bridge ahead. But in the bird's eye view, it wasn't visible at all. It simply fell outside the frame. In some situations, bird's eye view adds valuable information. In others, it can hide critical details. These examples show that in teleoperation, perception is fully mediated by the interface. This means that by designing the interface, we directly shape operators' perception, and therefore their performance and road safety. Unlike a traditional windshield view, the teleoperation interface can be designed more freely to fit the operator's needs. This changes the role of additional views. While bird's eye view is optional in traditional driving, it can become a key source of spatial understanding in remote driving. But that raises an important question. Do these additional views actually help remote drivers? What happens when we show both views together? Does bird's eye view provide useful additional information, or does it distract drivers from the road? Prior work has shown that bird's eye view can be beneficial in driving tasks. At the same time, other studies suggest that adding another information stream may increase cognitive load and even distract users and hurt performance. So our research question is, how does adding a bird's eye view to the user interface of a teleoperation station in autonomous vehicles affect the situational awareness of the teledriver? To explore this question, we conducted two experiments. The first experiment was conducted online. Participants watched 8 driving simulations and answered questions about what they observed. We used a between-subject design with 150 participants and 3 interface conditions: frontal, only the frontal camera; minimized, frontal camera with a small bird's eye view window; and gallery, frontal camera next to bird's eye view. After each video, participants answered 4 multiple-choice questions about what they saw. Each question targeted a different type of information, allowing us to assess different aspects of situational awareness. For example, in the bridge scenario, they were asked, "Was there a bridge ahead?" They could answer yes, no, or don't know. Correct answers were summed, so each participant's total score reflected how accurately they understood the situation. In other words, their situational awareness. So what did we find? For nearby and occult objects, adding bird's eye view did not provide any significant advantage or disadvantage. But for distant objects and small road details, bird's eye view actually reduced situational awareness, both in minimized and gallery conditions. This suggests that even a small bird's eye view window could negatively affect performance. One limitation of the first experiment was that participants were passive viewers. In the second experiment, participants actively drove in a simulator and answered multiple-choice questions. 40 participants, 2 conditions: frontal and frontal next to bird's eye view. This time we used SAGAT, a method where we pause the simulation and ask participants questions about what they saw, similar to the first experiment, only it focuses on 3 specific levels of situational awareness. Interestingly, the results were different. In the active driving experiment, we found no significant differences in situational awareness across all SAGAT levels: perception, comprehension, and projection. We also found no difference in the perceived cognitive workload measured using NASA TLX. Why did the results differ between the two experiments? The key difference is that in the active driving task, participants largely ignored the bird's eye view. Head movement analyses revealed something interesting. Participants looked at the bird's eye view only once per simulation for about 2 seconds. Several participants said they preferred focusing on the frontal view. The bird's eye view was effectively unused. Participants may have avoided it to stay focused and reduce distraction. One participant told us, "I'm not a bird, looking from above feels unnatural." This suggests that participants tended to rely on what they are used to and were strongly biased toward the frontal view. With appropriate training, they might better leverage the bird's eye perspective. Another possible explanation for the difference between the experiments lies in the setup. In the lab, the bird's eye view was placed on a separate display, making it easier to ignore, whereas in the online study, it was embedded within the main view and harder to avoid. This highlights an important design implication. Interface layout plays a critical role in attention and perception. Our results show that adding a bird's eye view does not necessarily improve situational awareness, and in some cases, it can even reduce it. As remote driving evolves, we have a unique opportunity to redesign driving from the ground up. This study is a first step toward research driving design of teleoperation interfaces, moving beyond traditional driving assumptions to better support situational awareness, performance, and reduce cognitive load. Thank you.